Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesigns, and take a look what I have here. I have the new Chromaflow 150 pencils. And guys, you know how much I love you, so I decided to take one for the team and buy these pencils. You guys are buying this, right? But what I thought we would do today is let's take a look at these pencils. Let's compare them to the 72 set and the 100 set. So I will show you, let me get that glare out of the way. There we go. I thought maybe we would compare them like the swatch chart so that you could see what pencils come in each set and what pencils, you know, are lacking. So like if you look at the 72 set, we'll look at it without the 100 and the 150. Then I'm going to add the 28 pencils that you can currently get open stock, and we'll take a look at that, and you can buy that set as well as a 100 set. And then let's talk about the last 50 and whether or not we can get them as open stock as well. So let's dive in, shall we? Okay, so let's get down to the good stuff. So here we have the first layer of pencils. Aren't they beautiful? Derwent has really lovely dipped ends. All of their pencils have that dipped end. And here is the second layer. Lots of blues and greens and lovely purples. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of trays, but they are what they are. And then here are the last set. All of the neutrals and some of the olive greens. So let's put the pencils like this so that we can take a look at our colors. I will zoom in as close as I can. Aren't they beautiful? I absolutely love a new set of pencils. So what I'm going to do is in this video, I am going to show you what colors are in the 72 set. Then I'm going to swatch out the colors that are in the 100 set and show you where the empty spots are. And then I'm going to swatch out all 150. Okay. So here's the pencil itself. It's a black pencil. It has a dipped end, which is a very traditional Derwent design with kind of the swoop. It says made in England, which is slightly different than the 72 set I have. The 72 set I have says made in Britain, which is different. It says Derwent Chromaflow Citruscello 0010. Now I will say, even though they're metallic, it's not that blingy metallic, so for me it's easier to read. And the font is an easier font to read. So I personally like that. It's a little thinner pencil. Here's a polychromos for comparison. I don't know if you can really see on camera any difference. The wood is slightly different. This is a harder wood on the polychromos, and this is a thinner wood. But that being said, they're cheaper than polychromos. So there's that. And if you look, which one's easier to read? Definitely the Chromaflow. The font and the less blingy gold. So those are just little preferences and little things. So we will be taking a look at them, not the polychromos, but the Chromaflow. And I'll talk about things like, do the barrels match, the swatches, and they all have a name and a number, so that's fantastic. Okay, while we're talking about pencils, I know a lot of people get wrapped up into whether or not a pencil is wax or whether it's oil. And the reality is it's always a mixture. I don't really concern myself too much with that. Personally, I judge a pencil by how I feel while I'm coloring it. whether it's, now it is a very soft pencil. I don't think it's as soft as a Color Soft pencil or a Posca pencil. So I would place it a little higher than that. However, it is definitely softer than most of your other pencils. It has a really nice buttery feel when you lay it down. You will get some crumbs, though I personally don't find crumbs to be a big issue with them. It maintains a pretty good point, although it will wear down faster than probably something like a Polychromos. It does have the pine wood that I talked a little bit about, which is one of the ways that they can make these a little bit cheaper. Now, I'm not clear on the light fastness. I would not, if you are trying to sell your art, these are not a pencil I would recommend. I don't feel like they are designed for that. They're not a professional grade pencil. I think these pencils are really designed for colorists, much like myself, who are using them for their own personal art, in coloring books, and for general enjoyment. And I think they're a perfect pencil for that because they're a nice blend of some of the higher end pencils benefits, such as open stock and good pigment laydown, while not having, the exceedingly high cost. Now, I understand these pencils are not as cheap as Color or Brute Funers, but to me, their quality is a little bit better. But pencils are extremely subjective, and what I like and what you like might be totally different. But I wanted to just kind of touch base on that as well. Just of note, these came in a really nice box, and then in a bigger box with paper around it when they came from Amazon. So I felt like they were very nicely packaged. So this is my 72 set of Chromaflows that I've had for at least a year. And I think they have overall a really good palette. You're able to color, very effectively with it. The things I would note, I feel like it's lacking in grays. I would like some more what I call browns, like tan, like this color, only not gold, not metallic, more of a tan color. And some, but I do feel like it's got some nice colors in it. So let's take a look at that without on the 150 chart, and we'll see what's missing. So here's the sheet, right? So here's the 72 that are already swatched out. And these are just in my rough color family order. What I did was I put them in the order. I filled out the 72. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to find the pencils that are in the 100 set, the 28 pencils in the 100 set, and I'm going to fill those in so that you can make a decision about, do you need the 72 set or the 100 set or the 150 set? Okay. What I've done is I went in, I swatched out the additional 28 pencils. Now, these you can buy from a place called Colt Pens right now online. I believe, in the UK is really the only place that you can order a set like that. When I checked, at least, and it's the end of June of 2024, you could not buy the open stock in the United States for the 100 or the 150 yet. You can buy the sets of the 100 from Amazon. Now, they do take a little longer to get to you, simply because they are shipping from the UK. But if you go to Colt Pens, and I'll leave a link in the description box, they do sell a set of 28. So if you have the 72, you could flesh it out to get this palette. And what I've done is I have listed out with 1X with all of the colors that you can get in the 72, and we already looked at those. And then I put 2X's on the ones that are in the 100 set, so in the additional 28 set. So if you were to order the 100 set, this is what your swatch chart would look like. Now, let's talk about the remaining 50. So initially when they came out with the 150, I guess Derwent said they weren't going to sell the additional 50 open stock. And I think it caused a little bit of a stir because Derwent has always, the pencils that they have sold open stock, they've always sold every pencil open stock. And so the assumption was that you could get all the pencils open stock. And so it disgruntled people a little bit. Now, I saw a video from Color with Claire, and I will put a link to her channel in my description box, and even to the video if I can, to where she talked about reaching out to Derwent, and what they told her was that it was imminent that they were going to start selling these pencils in the United States. In other words, at places like Dick Blick, Jerry's Artorama, and on Amazon, where you didn't have to wait for it to come from the UK. And when she asked about the open stock for the 50, they did say that they were going to be selling now all 150 open stock, and that it would be coming imminently. So you can make your own assumption about what that word means. I think of imminent as in imminent danger, meaning you better get out of the way type of thing. So I'm hoping that means that they're coming very soon. But they may have a different definition, so we shall see. Now, the one thing I will tell you is that if you decide you want the 150 set, you like the palette for the 150 set, you can, it sounds like in the future you'll be able to replace those pencils open stock as needed, because I know that that is a concern for a lot of people. Some people only buy pencils that are available open stock. Now, if you buy the 100 set, these are the pencils that you're going to get. And in the future, you'll be able to buy them individually. Now, when I went to Derwent, to the UK site, if you go to the Derwent United States site, all that's listed is the 72 set. If you go to the Derwent UK site, they sell the 72 and the 100 and the 150. As far as the 50 for opens, and then they sell the 28 pencils that are the difference between the 100 and the 72. I hope this isn't getting confusing. Those are available right now, open stock. If you look for, like, say, Brilliant Blue, which is right now only in the 100 and 150 set, what it says is stock coming soon. That's literally the verbiage. It's grayed out, but the pencil itself is listed as a pencil, and it's grayed out like it's not available, and it says stock available soon, or stock coming soon. So I do feel like you could feel comfortable buying these if open stock is an issue. Okay, so let's talk about the palette of 100. So once again, I felt like we had a good palette with the 72, but we've fleshed out, we've got a couple of more pinks and purples here. We've got a nice brown. I love this kind of brown. It's one of my favorites. I very much tend to use this brown, and this brown, as opposed to the redder browns. You know, you've got these nice olivey greens. You got a nice filler between your two what are these called? Turquoise, aqua, teal colors. I like this rose quartz. It's really nice with this red storm and the lavender ash. I feel like that's a nice blend. So there are some really nice colors. So what is coming in the next 50 that I'm going to swatch out? It looks like we're going to get us some grays, definitely some more greens, quite a few pinks, and some orange or red peachy kind of colors. So I'm going to swatch out our final set. They'll be the ones with no X on them. And I'll be right back and we'll take a look at it as a whole. Okay, y'all. Here is the final swatch sheet with all the colors. And I gotta say, I'm really excited about some of these colors. We have a super light pink, which to me is almost too light. To me, when I look at this, it's almost like having another white. I would have preferred maybe an ivory color instead of this one. I do like this rose pink. I love the glacier blue. I feel like this is a color that's missing in a lot of palettes and one that Prismacolor does well. I like kind of the celadon greens over here. We've got our olivey greens here. So, you know, overall, I'm excited about this palette. I really like that we have some really nice darks in here, and then some really light lights, and then the nice vibrant midtones. So I'm really pleased overall with this palette. I also like that there are some kind of grayish colors like this laurel green and this red storm and almond frost. Some of these colors, they remind me of Castle Art. I think it's the Castle Art Gold that has these colors. And I really like them. Now, I'm not a fan of metallics. I'll try and tilt this a little bit to where you can see. But, you know, I would have preferred to have less metallics because there's, what, 4. I mean, the platinum's kind of a metallic too. So maybe 5. I'm not a big fan of those, so I would probably do those a little bit differently. Now, let me know in the comments below if you want a swatch chart on the Ko-fi shop. There's one already for the 72 set. So this one's already up there. Then next I'm going to do, I need to go in and put in all of the numbers because I don't have that on there. And of course it'll be, you know, in a better font. I was running out of ink when I printed these, so not a better font, but better ink. So I will clean up this chart and then it will become available on the Ko-fi shop. But let me know if you want me to do a separate one for the 100 set. So I don't know if people are going to be wanting to buy that set, given that now the 150 is going to be available open stock. But I want, this channel has always been about what you guys want. So let me know. So I'm going to pause the video here and go ahead and start doing some testing. Okay, so let's chat about this. So this is the Chromaflow 150. So availability. I'm not going to give it all 5 stars because currently it's a little hard to get in the United States. But depending on when you're watching this might change because they started with Chromaflow in the United States and was kind of testing the market when it first came out with the 72 set. And then they went forward and introduced it in the UK. Now, it seems they've done the reverse this time. So we're going to give it maybe 3.5 stars because while it's not impossible to get right now, I think the price will go down in the future. So let's kind of talk about price. I bought these for $168 for the 150 set, which makes them what, $1.12, $1.12 a pencil, which is pretty pricey. You know, it's maybe not as pricey as some of the other top of the line, but it's not quite as cheap as, you know, obviously you can buy Sioux Color and some of those kind of pencils for, you know, 15 to 25 cents a pencil. So it is an investment. But it's one of those things where you get what you pay for. So in terms of price, let me back up on availability. So as far as availability, there's a 12, 24, 36, 48, 72, 100, and 150 set that are currently available. The 150 set is not currently available in the United States, though I bought mine from Amazon and it took less than a week to get here. So I did check the price today and it has went up. So I would say this is something to watch your cart, because when I was looking at these, when they very first started talking about them, I don't know, a month or two ago, I looked at them and they were quite a bit higher and then they dropped back down. So definitely keep an eye on price. As far as, so this one is availability. This one is price. So once again, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars because it's definitely not what I would call a budget pencil, but for the quality, I do feel like it's pretty reasonably priced. So once again, I jumped the gun here. They're available in 12, 24, 36, 48, 72, 100, and 150. So I am going to give them 5 stars because that is a broad range, and a lot of times you can't get that big of a variance so that you can make it work in your price point. Are they open stock? So I believe I said it earlier, but currently the 100 set and all of the pencils included in that are available open stock right now, and then the remaining 50 are going to be open stock imminently, whatever that word means to Derwent. So do the barrels match the swatch? Now time is kind of at an essence for me today, so I went ahead and I just pulled some at random and checked them. I felt like they matched pretty well. There was a few colors where like the oyster color is a little darker than it lays down, or maybe like this Hollywood pink has almost a little bit more of a cast, like somewhere between this one and this one, but they're minor. It wasn't like I would pull pencils and this green has this barrel color or something like that. They were minor differences. I personally felt like the barrels matched pretty well. Are they pigmented? Yes, they are. It does not take a lot to lay down color. These are very much on par with things like the Black Edition, Prisma, Color Soft pencils, where when you do your first layer, this is my light layer here. So I definitely feel like they're well pigmented. So let's talk about the palette a little bit. So as far as when I look at this palette, the thing that I feel like it lacks the most is a good blend of reds. By that I mean, when you look at Prismacolor reds, And I pulled these just for, let me get it out of the binder here. Okay, when you look at Prismacolor reds, hey, let's start one more time, shall we? So when we look at our reds, I feel like we have this nice dark red working our way down almost to a pink. And then we go into our orange reds, right? But we have like some really pretty reds. These are what I call reds. Whereas when I look at the Chromaflow, I feel like I got a nice orange red here. To me, this is a little more of an orange red here. Now I'm getting into almost like wine colors, or like more brick red type of colors. There isn't that nice, pure, what I would say like a red. There just really isn't. And there isn't a nice blend of reds. So this is probably the closest where we go from our peachy orange into this red. But here we got kind of like pink peaches, and then a big jump here. Once again here, kind of browns, these little browns, and then this red all by itself, and then kind of this, they call it raisin, but almost like a cross between maybe a brick red type of red, a maroon maybe. So I'm not in love with their reds, but they have nice yellows. They have nice bright yellow into oranges. They have a nice selection of oranges, a nice selection of peaches, pinks, and then lovely purplish colors, and then the dusky purple colors, and then getting into some red purples, and then into your blue purples. I think those are fantastic. I love the blues. It's got some nice teals and blue greens, nice spring greens. I like the gray blues. I like the olive greens and kind of the brown greens. So no complaints about any of those. I feel like they filled in a few of these browner colors. Once again, I feel like we've got a really nice set of browns in Prismacolor. And I say this because I personally go back to Prismacolor far more for their palette than I do because I have to have a pencil this soft. I like soft pencils in general because I'm impatient and I'm not like, hey, let's spend 6 weeks layering. But that's not usually why I go back to Prisma. I just like their palette. I very much love these grayish colors here. As far as their actual grays, I feel like they're lacking a little bit. Nothing beats Prisma grays. By far, they have the best actual stair step. You know, you got your stair step of French grays, you got your stair step of warm grays, you got a stair step of cool grays. You just can't go wrong with their grays. But overall, I feel like the palette is balanced. Now, there's no neons. There's 4 to 5 metallics. There are a couple of odd colors. Like I do feel like this red stands out a little bit without having other colors around it. But overall, I don't have an issue with that. I feel like it's very much has a nice blend of dark darks, right? And light lights. And I really like that in a palette. It's a little heavy on the green, blue, purple. Little less on the red. Orange is great. So overall, I'm going to give them a 5 for their palette. Well, let's give them a 4.5. Let's give Prisma the 5 for the grays. Pencil appearance and feel. I'm going to give them a 5 here as well. It's easy to read. The pencil, while a little thinner, isn't so light that I feel like I'm gonna fling it out of my hand. It's, I haven't had any sharpening problems to date. Now, it is kind of a pine wood with a 3.5mm core, which is not an ultra small core. So I think it's good. I think it's really good. Let's talk about how many layers to fill. So let me grab a pencil here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to use teal just because I really like this color. And we're going to do light layers. There are some crumbs to these. They're not super crummy. And I'm just going to keep turning my paper so I go at it at a different angle each time. Okay, so that's me being a little heavy-handed. Now that's 4 layers. I feel like I got good coverage there. This is a very toothy paper. It's a Bristol vellum. But at about 4 layers, I feel like I'm getting to where I would have to burnish. So I'm going to give it maybe 3.5. I feel like it's not bad, but it's definitely, you know, it's not a pencil that you're going to get a ton of layers with, right? So this is Deep Sea. Grab a water brush here, get it going. Okay. There is a little bit of movement. Most pencils have that, so it's not completely waterproof, but that's not bad at all. So I'm going to give them 4.5 stars for that. And then blending. So what I did was I picked, we'll go with this teal, Bondi blue, sea blue, lagoon, and deep sea. I haven't tried this, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're going to do this live, not Memorex. This is not Memorex. Okay. I got these on a very sharp point. And this is a softer pencil. Would I say it's as soft as Prismacolors? No. Would I say it's a soft pencil? Absolutely. Do I like the feel of these? Yes, I do. Do I like soft pencils in general? Yes, I do. Don't get me wrong, I like Prismacolor or Polychromos, the same as anybody, but I also love a soft pencil. So here's the thing. This color, we took it into a little bit of a purple, and this last color is more of a kind of a Prussian blue. But we're going to go with it. We're going to go back in again. This time I'm going to extend this color a little farther in. Okay. Now we never want to take this one too far that way because it'll overcome it. But I am going to extend these lighter colors more into the blues. this one I'm going to go all the way to the end. Same with this one, we'll go all the way to the end. And I probably shouldn't have mixed these last two together. It's not the perfect blend, but do I think they blended well? Yes, I do. I think that's a nice blend. Could I go in, let's go in with white. Okay, let's go in with their white. Now I know a lot of you think it's a waste. You should give your pencils a quick sharp before you use them because they put a little protective coating on them when they ship them. That's why a lot of times you'll see them like with the little flat heads. And I'm using this white kind of like a blender pencil just to see what it does here. But anyway, I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to sharpen them. They wear down fast enough. But you'll get better results if you just give them a quick sharpen. Even if you just use a sharpener like this and just go in with just this much, you know, and get that little waxy coating off of there. I don't know if it's wax, but it's some sort of protective coating. Okay. So I think that blended nicely. I think these are good blending pencils. I kind of did the I did this one, how many layers to capacity, I kind of did here. But let's pick a different color here. Look at the pigment that you get, you know? I could go in, and I'm not using heavy pressure. But even with this toothy paper, I can fill that square in just 3 layers. So I feel like that's a good thing. So now let's test and see if we can get more than 4. So here's 1, 2, 3. Am I doing this right? No. Should I have done 4 separate boxes? Yes. I feel like we're going to give this one the 3.5, like we talked about before. Does my whole video need a blooper reel? Possibly. I apologize, you guys. My head, hopefully after this weekend, I can get my head back in the game and be with, you know, what am I fooling? Like, I have a blooper reel for a reason. Okay. Now, everyone's favorite part, Wendy does math. So we have 3.5, 7, 20. So 27, 32, 36.5, 41.5, 45.5, 46, 51, 52, 53, 54.5. So 54.5. Now, one thing we didn't test here is let's look at opacity. These are so opaque. Let me grab a yellow. A red. Like, look at how vibrant these colors are on black. So I think that these, at first glance, could really even rival like Black Edition pencils. Okay, so in conclusion, I really like the Chromaflow pencils. Who do I think these are for? I think these are for people that want to supplement their Prismacolor pencils, maybe as an alternate to Prismacolor pencils, because I know there are some parts of the world where Prismas are hard to find. I think that these are very comparable to Faber-Castell's Black Edition pencils. Let's look at their palette quickly. Pull it out of... Okay, so this is my Black Edition palette. I think a lot of these colors are pretty similar. You know, you've got kind of these pinky purples like you do here, and then the nice purple, more what I call purples, like here. You got these brighter blues. You got your teals and your green tones. You know, some neutrals. I think the neutrals are a little more balanced out in my page. But overall, I feel like between the Prismacolor palette and the Chromaflow and the palette and the Prismacolor, I think the Black Edition, Prismacolor, and Chromaflow palettes are all similar, and yet there's still some differences. So what you could do is possibly get whatever set of pencils is cheaper in your country or where you live, and then Chromaflow and Prismacolor are both open stock. So depending on what's available to you that way, you could supplement if you had the Black Edition. Or you could get the Chromaflow palette and then supplement with like Prismacolor grays with it. I think would make it a phenomenal set of pencils that give you a wide variety of color, and yet you can still get them all open stock. So, are these in everybody's price point? No, they're not. That's why I'm saying it just really depends on what you think's important. If you're an avid colorist, meaning if you are going to really invest time into coloring, you may find that it's cost effective to buy stuff that is open stock, because I know myself, I am drawn to certain colors. I hardly ever use like certain weird greens, right? I tend to always go for more olivey greens. The bluer greens like peacock blue, and like some of these greens in my Prismacolors are going to be very light, whereas this line of greens I use all the time. And I don't think that's uncommon as a colorist to have our preferences, what we go back to. Do I use a lot of these colors in my picture? Not usually. I do tend to, as a general rule, lean towards earthier colors. But I also like vibrancy. So I like vibrant, earthy colors. In other words, I'm not as drawn to things like this pastel mint. I might use it as a highlight on my color, but not as the main color. So, you know, take these reviews and see what other people think of these pencils as well. Like I said, there'll be a link in the description box to Color with Claire, because she does a review of the pencils, and then she also has advice directly from the Derwent. So if that interests you, I will link her channel. Plus, guys, let's face it, she's phenomenal. Her channel covers so many things, and if you're a new colorist and you're unaware of her, definitely check her out. So that's it for this week. I'll be back. I'll be gone this weekend. I'll be back next week, ready to hit things hard. I'll be looking to work in the Africa book and do some of the last of the month roundups. So until then, happy coloring. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you enjoy adult coloring content, please consider subscribing. You can now find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I welcome all comments and suggestions. Don't forget to like the video before you go. And until next time, take care.